So hello everyone and welcome to this complimentary Be a Loving Mirror holiday support call hosted by Family Recovery Resources. It's great to be here with all of you as we explore the great mystery of how to arrive at peace and acceptance when facing the challenge of living with active substance use disorder, other disorders, addiction, abstinence, and early recovery. This is one of an 8-part series, which we're covering the BOM 7 C's of family recovery. And in this call, we're sharing and discussing the 6th C, which is you can communicate with your loved one. For those of you who don't know, the BOM is a Be a Loving Mirror method, which is the loving path to family recovery. You may have seen us online. We provide a 1-year comprehensive family program that teaches families everything they need to know to get their lives back and to help them help their loved ones get their lives back as well. Unlike other programs, we're not just about you getting better or about your loved one getting better. Rather, we're focused on the whole family getting better through this path of love. It is not tough love, and it's certainly not enabling love, but rather the love members of our community practice is the deep love of connectedness and transformation that starts from within us and moves out from each bomber to their loved ones and ultimately to every life that they touch. Of course, we never guarantee that a loved one will recover, but we do teach families to be the very best chance at their loved one's recovery. And it all starts with these 7 C's, which we'll utilize to help ourselves and our loved ones during the holiday season. So let's start with a few housekeeping details. We know that it's not uncommon that we find ourselves in crisis situations, particularly around the holidays, when dealing with use disorders. If you're coming to this call and you're finding yourself in immediate danger, please call 911 or get yourself to a safe place. If you're on this call and in time of heightened emotion and frustration, know that you're in the right place and we will absolutely provide you with additional assistance after the call. In the spirit of keeping this call solution-focused, we ask that if you'd like to vent, please let us know in the chat, and we will have someone reach out to you after the call. That's what we're here for. As I stated earlier, we're only going to have the presentation portion of this call recorded, and that way you'll have privacy when we open it up for sharing and Q&A. And the sharing's voluntary, by the way. You'll not be called on or put on the spot. Unless, of course, you're a BOM family recovery coach. We all expect that, though. Sharing is voluntary. You won't be called. I just mentioned that. And if you wish to share, you can either raise your hand or type in the chat, and we'll ask you to unmute at that point. We'll be using the chat feature during this call. Anytime during the chat, if you want to remain anonymous, please direct it to the presenter. Otherwise, you can open it up to everyone. And the first portion of this call, as I said, will be recorded. So you'll be able to listen to it on your mobile device or computer at your convenience at a later date. And I'm sure you've heard someone say at one time, recovery is a lifelong journey. These calls are only one example of the many ways we'll share together along the way. The most important work you'll do to bring recovery into your life will happen between calls, just as the most important work in a coaching relationship happens to be between coaching sessions. The key to this process is to be patient with yourself along the recovery road. I know it feels so long at times, and I know we all get frustrated and weary, but one day at a time, as they say, the path of recovery is a path of joy, peace, and loving kindness. And I'm so happy that we're traveling it together. At this point, I would like anyone who'd like to volunteer to unmute and share your first name and just one word that describes how you're feeling at this moment. And I will begin. As I said, my name is Lisa, and I am feeling grateful.
Hey, I'm Jackie.
Hi, Jackie.
Haven't seen you in a while, Lisa.
I know. Welcome.
And thanks. I'm feeling hopeful.
Great. Anyone else?
This
Hi,
is Colleen. I'm feeling grateful too.
Great.
Terry, I'm feeling calm.
Love that, Terry.
This is Joanne. I'm trusting.
Thank you, Joanne.
Hey, this is Jeff. I'm feeling a little anxious.
We need to breathe, Jeff.
Yes.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, great. We'll get started. And this is the 7 C's of being a loving mirror, and the ones that we've gone through so far. Number 1, you did not cause your loved one's substance abuse disorder. 2, you cannot control it. And 3, you cannot cure it. And now we get into the can-dos. You can contribute to the recovery, which is really a cornerstone of the BOM work. You are connected to your loved one at a level that transcends the substance abuse disorder. And today you can learn to communicate more effectively with your loved one. And the last one, which comes after this session, is you're always at choice. So if we look at the first C a little more closely, you did not cause your addiction. And this is what we need to know, that repeated use leads to an effect on the pleasure areas of the brain. It leads to physical changes in the brain, which leads to increased tolerance, which leads to substance abuse disorder, alcoholism, also known as addiction. It's a disorder of the brain, a disease. The big book of AA calls it an obsession of the mind and an allergy of the body. The research also says it's possibly genetic, that it's not your fault, even if the gene comes from your side of the family. Yet so many family members rack themselves with guilt. You absolutely did not cause your loved one's addiction. When we look at the second C, you can't control it. And what we do know over time, what we've learned over time, is the things that don't work: nagging, yelling, screaming, begging, coercing, demanding, manipulating. And I want to say right now, if you've done any of these things, please know you're in great company. It is very, very difficult to have a relationship with somebody who has a substance use disorder. So if we have used these tactics, it comes from a place of being human and being scared. What we learn, though, is that the things that do work is taking care of you, breathing, meditating, being more observant and being aware, responding instead of reacting, being a loving mirror, which is, really the heart and soul of this communication that we're going to talk about today. You can't cure it. It's their journey. You have your journey and your loved one has their own. It's the disease of substance use disorder. It can be arrested but not cured. And this is so wonderful and just really a huge, huge departure from what some of us had learned before, that we can contribute to their recovery. And that's such a relief. We can change our attitude with the use of tone of voice, the particular words that we use, the behaviors that we exhibit, and finding a perspective within ourselves. Our words, thoughts, and deeds really do have an impact. The fifth C, you are connected to your loved one on a level that transcends their substance use disorder. This is an eye-to-eye, heart-to-heart inner connection, reflecting on good times in the past, living in the moment, and the hope for future good times. You know, it's really, when we live in the moment, it's looking at ourselves by the way we're treating our loved one, and what we're treating them like someone who needs to, if we're treating them as someone who needs to be fixed 24/7. There are things to do to advocate for a loved one, to help them, but harping on them 24 hours a day, treating them poorly because of their inability to get well, showing a lack of respect, and that's something every human being deserves, is our respect. And through this program, we learn things that truly can help. And today we learn about communicating. Smiling. Are you happy? Are you smiling? Are you filled with fear and resentment? Are you living in the past or the future? We invite you to smile and remember the good times, and let go of the negative emotions and stay in the moment. Being a loving mirror, which is really the heart and soul of the way that we communicate. And, you know, for those of you that aren't familiar, Be a Loving Mirror is based on the fact that a mirror reflects our most honest image. If you look in the mirror, you're going to see that's what you get. It's as honest and non-judgmental as you can possibly be. So in our classes and in the work that we do, in learning how to communicate effectively with our loved one, we learn to report the facts of what we see and hear, and we reflect them back to them with a gentle, loving tone, without judgment, without criticism, without a negative emotion, and without love. And if you're like most of us and you've come from a place of anger, and it hasn't all been so loving and calm, it is a process. And we take you through that through our education as well as through our 7-step classes. And we know that denial is the glue that perpetuates the addictive system, that our loved one needs to be in denial to keep that going, and they need to keep us in denial. So when we communicate in a way that's negative, and it's reactive, not responsive, and it's critical and judgmental, and again, please be easy on yourselves because we've all been there. Angry, harsh. Believe it or not, we are actually provoking our loved ones' denial and therefore giving them an excuse to blame us. In other words, she's crazy, not me. She doesn't know what she's talking about. You've heard that saying, you know, my wife's a drunk. I mean, if you had my wife, if you had a wife like mine, you'd be drinking too. It's all about projecting the negative onto the person. So if we scream and yell, it's very easy for them not to hear us. And if they don't hear us, then there really is no point. And, you know, it can provoke their using. But when we communicate in the way that we learn in the BOM, really allows our loved one to hear the facts of their behavior and open up to the possibility of change. It allows them to see them and hear themselves just like in a mirror. You know, and we're so accustomed to hearing whenever we do say, no, you're wrong, I didn't do that, I didn't say that, you didn't see that. And we learn to just say, honey, I love you, but I believe my eyes and ears. And then our loved one is much more likely to see the experience with or have the experience of seeing the clarity about their using and where their life has gone. We ask curious questions in our communication. Questions like, is your life working for you? Would you like a better life? We love you and we're here to help you get there. That's our next lesson. So I would love to introduce one of our coaches, Colleen. And Colleen is going to share with us how this particular step has worked for her. So I'd like to hand it over to you, Colleen. Welcome, and it's great to see you again.
Hi, thank you, Lisa. Great to see you too. It's when I agreed to do this, I don't know if it was a week or two ago, I had a lot to say, but I have even a lot more to say today as it goes, the first one that you said is just what we need to always take care of ourselves. I just have so much going on the last couple of days. I almost didn't go on the call tonight, but I just knew I needed to. I needed to get support and give back. And I have a lot to say about communication and how much it's helped me in the short time I've been in the BOM since August. But I am going to ask before I talk about that if I know a lot of people like to pray and they're involved in prayer circles, and I'm going to ask everyone on the call to pray for my niece who's fighting for her life right now. She's 36 years old. That's part of why I felt so sick today. She's had a baby a week ago and she had complications. She's had was on a heart and lung machine, dialysis. She's had an embiotic fluid embolism. Because of that, usually people die within the first hour. She's still alive a week later, and she's had severe brain damage, severe kidney damage. They're talking about quality of life, DNR with my brother and sister-in-law. So it's just a devastating situation. So I'm just going to ask if everyone, her name is Jenna, Jenna, and I'm still have a ray of hope for a Christmas miracle, because it's still not little Christmas till January 6th, but or any kind of a miracle, but I'd appreciate some prayers for her. Just 2 days ago, what brought me into family recovery a year and a half ago was I have 3 adult sons. My oldest son struggles for many years off and on with drug addiction, and he's tested clean for a whole year. He tests through the court system because of whether he qualifies to get visits with his son, who's 3 years old. And he's tested clean for a whole year. He just got his visits back a couple of months ago, and 2 days ago I found out he just had another relapse. So what did I do? What did I do? What did I do before the BOM, even when I was in a different family recovery? I would have called him up and said, what are you doing? I wouldn't so much yell or scream or call him names, but boy, would I have fear, resentment, and anger. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? This is what I've said in the past. You just got your visits back. So none of that happened because I have the BOM. I contacted my coach that I work with. I have a personal BOM coach, and it wasn't life-threatening. His relapse actually happened a few weeks ago, but I just found out about it because my grandson's mother texted me and said, I'm sure you know what's happened, and his visits now are going to be cut down from twice a month to once, which I had no idea. And what I did is I took care of myself. I contacted my coach. She didn't get back to me till late because she had things going on, so we talked the next day. I just said my prayers. I did a lot of breathing. I got myself to bed to rest. I did not talk to my son until after I talked to my coach. I really got myself in a calmer place. I had a balm conversation with my son later in the day. I didn't rush to talk to him. I wanted to go over my notes with my coach and get myself before I talked to my son. I did my breathing, and I had a balm conversation with him, and I felt peaceful after. It doesn't mean it cured anything, it changed anything. And I listened to my son and I heard what he said. And, I just asked him what's going on, and he told me, and he said it was a small little relapse. He didn't, do I need to believe him 100%? That's, I know not to believe 100%, but I listened to him. I listened to everything he said. He said he wanted to wait till after Christmas to tell me and the family and his girlfriend, and he was good, and he's still working. He's got his full-time job, and he's doing well. They like him. They even made him a manager. This is his history, though. He does well at jobs, and he usually is very likable and a good worker, and before you know it, they do promote him, and he does well, and he makes more money. And so I asked him a couple of questions, and the first one, he's very insightful. He says, what are you trying to have I did a bomb question, and he was like, what are you trying to have a philosophical conversation with me right now, Ma? I just laid everything out on the line. Did you hear what I said? And I think I did I was reading from my notes, and then I said, I pulled God into it because I believe in God. I believe a good spiritual connection. And I said, okay, God, help me to really just be sincere and ask a question to him, that I have sincerity, true curiosity, that I really want to know. And I did. I don't remember exactly how I said it, but I just said, what is it you'd like to change in your life to make your life better? And I was just quiet, and it took a few seconds. He was quiet, and all of a sudden he started talking to me, and I was in awe. I knew that was God working, not me. And he started telling me a couple of things he wanted to do to change his life, to make it better. Something as simple as working out. And, we all know part of self-care, that the benefits of that, mentally and physically and spiritually. And because he always loved to go to the gym, and he let that go this past year. And honestly, I have so much going on in my head. I actually went to a funeral today. One of my close friends passed away. So I just kind of got slammed with a lot of stuff the last couple of days. I don't remember the second thing he said, but he said it was this, and what I did, I just listened until he stopped talking. And then I reflected, and I said, oh, so I hear a lot of good stuff. I hear some, some sincere changes you want to make that are going to be better in your life. And I said, that's great. It sounds like, two great commitments that you yourself know that you want to do. And then, I did a little summarizing, and he was actually outside because he lives in a tiny house with his girlfriend and her two sons, and he was freezing. I don't know if he had a coat or what. And he said, I really love you, Mom, but I am so cold, I'm freezing. And as Lisa said at the beginning of the call, it's freezing here in Boston. But so he said, I hope you don't mind. I'd really like to end the call. And I said, of course not. I said, I'm so glad we talked. I love you. And he said, I love you too, Ma. And we were both very calm. And I have sorrow, and I have sorrow for his relapse, but I feel peace around it just because of the way I just communicated with him. I never felt that way before, and I've been in other family recovery, and it's been very helpful. It's helped me a lot, but not like this. This was magical, really. It was magical. And I'm so grateful for the bomb. I'm so grateful, and I'm grateful that I'm here tonight on the call. I know that I needed to be on it to just get support myself. And I'm in a 12-step and I had a sponsee I let go of yesterday. I've been working with her for a while and she just keeps breaking and breaking and breaking. And, you know, in 12-step, sometimes the best thing to do is to let go of them and let them start a clean slate with somebody else. And I knew she was hurting and she called me tonight and she was really hurting. And I suggested she call my sponsor and I just shared with her all the stuff going on in my life. And I said, I don't have a lot to give you right now, except call my sponsor. She has wonderful, strong recovery and she can help you. And, you know, I know that was God saying, you know, sometimes, you know, we just don't have it to give, but I had support to give her, you know, sometimes I can't be somebody's end all. I just can't, you know, but I know that I have resources and I have other support to offer to people, not just myself. So yeah, communication, and to say it in a loving way. Like I told her, I love her, I care about her, and you know, this is what's going to help you right now. You know, and God, you know, I have a strong belief in God, and you know, I always ask people, if you have any kind of spiritual belief, turn to that when you're suffering and struggling. But, you know, the balm has helped me for communication. I've had other balm conversations since I've been in the program, one with my mother to help her be aware and make a decision of a different living environment than she's in, because she's 92. She lives in 2-floor living and, you know, her balance is off and she's had a couple of falls, and to do that in a loving way, in a caring way. I've had a conversation with my husband, who has some health issues. He's a smoker. He's had lung cancer. He's had one of the lobes of his lungs removed. He still smokes. He has some other health issues. He's got emphysema, and I had a bond conversation with him to consider having his own bond coach, and he's actually going to start working with someone in another week or two. So that's a miracle. And I had a conversation with my son's girlfriend, and slowly but surely I'm getting her involved in the BOM, and which is good because she lives with him, you know, and they're having another baby. They're having a baby. His son is from a different woman, but he's been with this girlfriend. So there's a lot that can benefit. She's the one that lives with him. He's having a second child, and yeah, this communication and it helps me to feel really peaceful around everything. But I still have a lot of pain and sorrow. This is really hard stuff I'm going through. But I had my grandson yesterday, which is a miracle, because my grandson's mother kind of was in a real angry mode the last couple of months, but I got to spend a couple hours with my grandson. And what does recovery do for me? It allows me to have space to enjoy my grandson and to enjoy the joy in my life. And he's my joy. You know, you look at them, they're so innocent. He's happy. We played for 2 hours with cars and this and that, and he's laughing and happy, and he loves me and he hugs me. And, you know, without recovery, with everything going on, I might have canceled that visit and said, I can't handle it, and I'm too sad, and I can't be with my grandson. I'll only make him sad. But because of recovery, I can give myself some healthy distance to look at the good in my life and the joy in my life and to enjoy it. And I'll always be grateful for that. So yeah, I agree with Lisa said, that it's a lifetime process. It's just a way of living. It's just a way of living. And my choice is to continue to choose to live in recovery. And so that's about it I have to say.
Colleen, that was so inspiring. And I've heard you speak before about your family, and you've really embraced this work in a very short period of time. And I've watched you through the classes and tonight. And a couple of points that you made are so critical, that, you know, this work is designed for us to be able to be our loved one's best chance. And through the style of communication or the mode of communication that we work on with the BOM, it really does open up that opportunity for us to be their best chance, for them to hear us. But as you've stated, and as I've learned over the years, it's so effective with everybody, whether it's an employer, an employee, a family member, and, and anybody, a friend. It's just, such a wonderful way to behave, rather than, and for those of us that by nature, and I put myself in the top of the list, are reactive, and instead of, or can be reactive instead of responsive. And as you said, to me, what you were saying is you really have a handle on being able to smell the roses. And that's just such a beautiful thought. And I think there are people that go through life focused on the negative, focused on what's wrong, and focus on unhappiness when, unfortunately, all of that is part of life. And it sounds like you have your plate really full now, but you're keeping it together. And I know this work is a big part of that. I know your faith is a big part of that. I'm so happy you didn't cancel on the call, and I'm so happy you didn't cancel on your grandson. But that's really, it's such a beautiful explanation of how this works. I have a couple of questions for you. Does your son notice a difference?
I don't know if he does. Verbally, he hasn't said anything, but I think I notice a difference because, number one, I listened more to him, and I feel like he opened up more to me yesterday. He didn't try to rush me off the call or end the call quickly, even though he was freezing. I know he was freezing. I could hear him chattering, talking to me, and it has been really cold, but I felt like he didn't sound so irritated with what I was saying to him.
Right.
So that's what I think I've noticed but he hasn't verbally said anything to me that he's noticed the difference.
And you know how we hound on tone, and it sounds like you've mastered that, which is probably in itself, because I know a lot of the conversations you have with your son are over the phone, where the phone is so important.
Yes.
So it sounds like maybe that's, where his where his guard is dropped a little bit.
Yes. Yes.
So that's great. One more quick question I have is, as we know that the BOM conversations that we do, and for those of you that aren't as familiar with this, our course in learning this method, just in the transformation piece, is an 8-week course. So don't expect that you're going to change everything and do everything differently just from this call, but it's just to give you kind of a snippet of what it's about. But Colleen, as we know, BOM conversations can occur in a series. So I want to ask you, what do you think your next conversation with him will be? Or is that just, are you playing that by ear? Or
I think I haven't really planned on anything. I did have, that wasn't my first BOM conversation with him. My first BOM conversation with him was 2 months ago when my goal was to have, because he's my son, for people who don't know, is 40 years old and he does not live with me. But I'm very connected. I know we work on what's my business, what's his business, what's God's business, but I'm very connected, and a lot of what he does is my business because of his supervised visits with his son. I am court ordered to be present. So a lot of it becomes my business. So the conversation I had with him 2 months ago when he just got his visits back, I got information from his girlfriend. She called me up and said he was drinking. And for those of you who might not know, drinking definitely is opening the door to drug use. So I had a conversation with him at that time, and the goal was to get him to work with a BOM family recovery coach, which he did. He agreed to. So it was positive results. And I've just been trying to, every time I talk with them, or a lot of it is text, is to just respond and not react. And, but I have to say this was more of another lengthy BOM conversation, not just, like they say, they're all mini interventions. Each BOM conversation is a mini intervention. So this was probably one of the bigger mini interventions yesterday, and the one I had in October. But in between, I still tried to change my, communication with him, that I'm not saying what I used to say is you should do this. I got into his recovery, and how many meetings are you going? Well, you should be going to this many meetings, and why aren't you doing this? And, you should be doing this. And, well, when's the last time, whatever. I just got into it too much. So I don't have a plan to answer your question for a next conversation. I'm just going to see where it goes. And,
Great. Perfect.
And, see how it goes with his girlfriend too. I mean, her and I connect here and there. And when she brings concerns with me, it's not like she calls me every week. It's probably been in October and then now recently. I try to handle it and manage it in a BOM way, in which I did. Instead of calling him right away, I called my coach. I waited a day and a night.
Yes, that was beautiful. And Jackie, who's on the call, sent in the chat, and I love it. And it's knowing when it's right to have the conversation is also key. And sometimes it's necessary to wait and smile. But Colleen, really, thank you so much for sharing that. It's really, really helpful. I want to, I have a little exciting announcement here. Beverly Buncher, who is the founder of BOM, who's on our call, hi Bev, has completed her book, which we are really, really excited about. It's called BOM, The Loving Path to Family Recovery. It's now available for pre-sale in anticipation of it being available in January. So if you go into the chat, you'll see details and a link. So you'll be able to order that if you so wish. And I can't wait to get my copy. So we're now going to turn off the recording. So Joan, if you can take care. Consider our one-year BOM Comprehensive Family Recovery Education and Coaching Program. You can access this through the coach who sent you to the call, or if you found us on Facebook or the website for Family Recovery Resources. Our main purpose in being here tonight is to support you. But if you'd like to know more about this program, please speak, as I said, with the coach who sent you, or give FRR a call at 888-998-BALM, or email us at info@familyrecoveryresources.com. And on our next call, we're going to be focusing on the 7th C, which is you are always at choice. And also have a quick Q&A and sharing time. So remember that when we do sign off on this call, if you feel you benefit from a more in-depth look at each of the 7 C's that will help you become a loving mirror, you can visit our website at familyrecoveryresources.com. It's one word, to learn more, or call again. It's 888-998-BALM, and that's 2256. And if you have been invited to this call by a particular coach, please call them directly or let us know when you call in so we can put you back in touch with them. Together, we'll practice loving mirror skills so that your life can be that peaceful river running through whatever is going on in your family and your world. And I know sometimes that feels impossible, but it is a true gift. Okay, so do you want to? Yes, Bev,
Bev, could I just say a couple of words about this C?
please.
Would that be okay?
Absolutely.
You can learn to communicate effectively. Most families, when they first come to the balm, they just don't think it's possible. I can't even imagine having effective communication. Yet all of us who have gone through this program have seen evidence, just as Colleen shared about today, about how things start to shift. We believe very strongly in the power of one, that if one person in the family starts to walk this path, miracles can happen. We don't guarantee restored families, but we see them every day. And we see them in the way that Colleen, shared. At first, her son said, "What are you trying to do? Be philosophical with me." And then he opened up like a flower in the spring. I remember the first time that I spoke the way that we teach in the balm to my daughter. She looked at me and she said, "Mom, do you realize you're actually listening to me?" And I went, "You mean I wasn't before?" She said, "Never." And then other people reported the same thing. So we're very grateful for all of you here who are on this journey with us and excited about the opportunity to be a loving mirror that this program offers. Be a loving mirror is the journey, and it's also the destination. We become a loving presence in our own lives and in the lives of those around us. Thank you so much again for letting me share that.
Thank you, Bev. I'm so thrilled you're on the call.
Thank you.
This is the woman who authored all of this material. An incredible inspiration. We all love her. Really, really changed our lives, and I can't say that enough. We have a few minutes left, and I'd like to do just a quick check out. As we're leaving the call for today's checkout, please share a one-word summary of how you're feeling at the end of the call. Okay, so who would like to start?
This is Colleen. I'm going to end it the way I started it, with grateful. Grateful for recovery. Very grateful. Thanks.
Well, we're grateful to have had you share tonight, Colleen. I'm so glad you were here. Thank you.
Thank you, too.
I think Marissa is on.
Yeah, I'm very thankful.
Oh, great.
Hi, it's Jackie. I just say peaceful.
Love it.
This is Joanne. How are you feeling?
Hi, Joanne.
Hi.
What did you say you feel, Joanne?
I feel inspired.
Oh, good. Great. Thanks for
Thank-
coming.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate it. Anybody else? Anybody else want to sign off?
Hey, this is Jeff. I'm feeling grateful.
Great, Jeff. Thank you for everything, for putting all of this together.
Thanks, Lisa.
Really
You've
true.
been amazing. This is a great call.
They've really all been great.
Yeah.
I just want to give a real hats off to Jeff for working closely with Tracy and just making this amazing series for us. And for Lisa, Lisa has been a balm coach since the very beginning. And she's added so much to our community. She teaches courses, she inspires people. And so wonderful to have you tonight on the call, Lisa. Thank you.
Thank you.
I know that we usually stay on a few minutes, so if you're someone who would like help, but you don't necessarily want to talk with everybody on the call, when we hit 9, we'll stay on a bit. So we're here for you. That's something that
Great.
will be meaningful.
Another chat here. Okay. All right. If that is it, I'm happy to hear from anybody else. If you want to sign off, I will say, as I did in the beginning of the call, that I feel very grateful. But I feel grateful for a lot of reasons, but really always am so inspired and so grateful and so just complete when I talk with this community. So whether I'm a listener or a host or a participant or whatever, it's can't say enough. There's the bell. So I want to say, we will stay on for a few minutes if anyone wants to keep on the call. But for those of you that are ready to leave, have a good evening, a happy new year, and goodbye, and be a loving mirror.
Thank you. Happy and
Thank
safe.
you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. God bless.